Hello viewers, welcome back to another episode, and in this episode I want to show you a second workstation of my collection. This is a VAXstation 2000. That machine was released in February 1987, so this machine is older than I am, and it's also the oldest machine in my collection at the moment. This is also a VAXstation, so it's a workstation. And it's a bit bigger than my other VAXstation, the VAXstation 4000 VLC, and prior of the release of the VAXstation 4000 VLC, this was also the smallest VAX ever built. The VAXstation 2000 is basically a MicroVax 2000 in the workstation configuration, so you can connect a keyboard, mouse, and display to it. And the MicroVax 2000 is basically a smaller build of MicroVax 2. I have some marketing information I've got from a person who sent me 2 folders of it. It's in German, but there are different informations about what these machine can and the different VAXstations and MicroVaxes at that time of the late 80s. Let's have a look at the machine from the outside. Here is the on-off switch. It's written VAXstation 2000 on it, and here this is the hard drive. 5¼ inch full height hard drive. It's RD54, and it is a very small hard drive. It has 155 megabyte formatted or 190 megabyte unformatted, and it's an MFM-RLL hard drive. So let's go to the back. There are some connections. We have a network connection here for 10-base-2 and for 10-base-5. And down here are more connectors. This is the hold button. You can't see the connectors because it's on side. So you have to connect it from here, from underneath. So and here is a printer port, and this is a modem connector. And here there is the connector for the display, keyboard, and the mouse. This is one connector. So you need a special cable. This one, and it's this cable was broken, so I have to replace the BNC connectors, but there's also a problem with the red channel of this machine. I don't know if this problem is caused by the cable, because the shielding was broken and the ground connection, but now it's working. I did also a separate video on the repair of the cable, but I don't know if I want to publish that video, because sometimes not everything is seen on the camera, and so it's just for documentation purpose. Maybe I'll release it, or don't know. The result of my repair is a bit ugly, because these BNC cables, the new ones, are bigger than the old ones. And here are the connections for the keyboard and for the mouse. So you definitely need this cable, and I think it's hard to rebuild this cable to build a new one like I did on my VAXstation 4000 VLC, where it's only the display connected. And the other side is that connector here. It looks a bit like from an old Mac, but due to the keyboard and mouse connection, it's completely different pinout than on an old Mac computer. And it's also quite long. It's about 5 meters. That should be, don't know, 15, 17, 16 feet or something like that. So it's a quite long cable. Interestingly, there is no SCSI connection on the back on the machine. Underneath is a connector for an extension adapter. So if you want to add a tape device or something like that with SCSI, you need this extension adapter, and I do not have this extension adapter, so this machine do not have any SCSI connection. I've never started that machine completely because it's stuck at the test B, so we'll have a look inside later and see if everything is okay inside of the machine. But when I'm able to start the machine and nothing is on the hard drive, I can only boot up the machine via netboot, because there's no connection for any other kind of storage or installation media, and I'm not able to install anything on that machine. So now I will open the machine, and let's have a look inside the machine. Okay, after disassembling, we see a lot of parts here, and I've also measured the output of the power supply with the oscilloscope, and 5V and 12V are completely okay, but some other kind of voltage seems to be a bit odd. So I opened the power supply, but everything in the power supply seems to be okay from a visual standpoint. But I think I will do change all the capacitors, so we'll do a recap of the secondary side of the power supply. So let's have a look at different boards we have here from the machine. This board over here, this is the network card, is a separate board in that machine. Then this is a memory module with certain 2 or 4 megabyte memory option because it's dual-sided. I think that will be the 4 megabyte option. This is the graphics card, and it's written VS40X, 4-plane power, 4-plane color option. So this is a graphic card with a color output. And over here is the mainboard, and this is the same mainboard like on Micro X2000. And here's a little switch, and the switch changed the output from the console port to the graphics card if the graphic card is built in. So here you can see the connections, and this machine does not have this MMJ type DEC connection. You have to use, I think, this port for console connection, but you have to shorten some pins, so I wasn't able to get a console output even when the switch is set to the Micro X setting. Therefore, I can use only the graphics output with the cable you've seen before. So what we can see here on the board as well is these are these 2 chips here. This one is, I think, the top one, the bottom one. No, sorry, the bottom one is the floating point unit, and the top one is the CPU itself, the ALU. And this one here is the timing chip, and I think this is also some kind of memory. So this memory board over here is only an extension of memory, and the machine can run also without that board here. But there is another problem with the machine, because over here the battery was located, and I've removed the battery after I've received the machine several months ago. But the battery was leaked like in every old wax machine of that time, and there is some damage on the board. I've cleaned it a bit and measured both sides. It looked quite hard damaged, but I think the connection is not broken. So I think, so I hope the problem of the machine is the voltage of the power supply, and not some broken connections on the board over here. If the problem still exists after I've changed the capacitors of the power supply, then I have to solder out all these chips here and check every connection, and maybe solder in some bypass wiring, and that will take a while. Therefore this machine won't work for a longer time. My X server 3100 seems to have the similar issue, that the place where the battery was, there could be some damage of the PCB, and I hope that's not the case here. Because in July I haven't the time for repairing the PCB. I have a lot of other things to do in that month, so I can start with repairing this if this is broken. I think in August or September, so it takes a while. Yeah, so this is the end of that episode, because I have to repair the power supply first, and then I will make a second video with the results, and I hope you find that interesting, and see you in the next episode, and leave comments below.